The year is 2025. The world stands at a crossroads with the future of international alliances hanging in the balance. The world watches with bated breath as the geopolitical landscape shifts beneath their feet. A diplomatic drama unfolds on the world stage, a high-stakes game with the fate of Ukraine hanging in the balance. The tension is palpable, and the stakes are higher than ever. At the center of it all stands French President Emmanuel Macron, walking a diplomatic tightrope. His every move is scrutinized, his every word weighed for its impact. He is tasked with the Herculean effort of holding together a fractured Western alliance. The unity of Europe is at stake, and Macron knows the gravity of his mission. His mission to persuade a volatile and unpredictable American president to remain engaged in the conflict. The challenge is immense, as Trump's whims are as unpredictable as the weather. The stakes could not be higher. The conflict in Ukraine, now in its third year, has tested the limits of international cooperation. The world watches as the situation grows more dire. The return of Donald Trump to the White House in 2024 sent shockwaves through Europe. His unexpected victory has left many European leaders scrambling to reassess their strategies. His America First rhetoric and his evident admiration for Vladimir Putin have raised serious concerns about the United States' commitment to its European allies. The alliance that once seemed unbreakable now appears fragile. The once unthinkable scenario of a transatlantic rift is now a stark reality. The bonds that have held the Western alliance together are fraying, and the future is uncertain. Macron, with his characteristic blend of charm and resolve, has emerged as Europe's de facto spokesperson. He is the face of European diplomacy, the voice of reason in a time of chaos. He has taken it upon himself to bridge the chasm that has opened up between Washington and Brussels. His efforts are tireless, his determination unwavering. His task is a daunting one: to convince Trump, a man who seems to view alliances as transactional rather than strategic, that the fate of Ukraine is inextricably linked to the security of the United States and its allies. The future of the Western alliance rests on his shoulders, and the world watches, hoping for a resolution. Macron has adopted a two-pronged approach in his dealings with Trump, balancing diplomacy with assertiveness. On the one hand, he has deployed his considerable diplomatic skills to cultivate a personal rapport with the American president, understanding the importance of personal relationships in international politics. He understands Trump's penchant for flattery, and has not hesitated to shower him with praise, both publicly and privately. Macron's charm offensive includes grand gestures and symbolic acts, such as inviting Trump to Bastille Day celebrations. He has also made a point of engaging with Trump on his own terms, granting him interviews on Fox News and other outlets favored by the American right. This strategic media engagement aims to reach Trump's base and influence public opinion in the United States. On the other hand, Macron has not shied away from challenging Trump's worldview, particularly on issues where their perspectives diverge significantly. He has repeatedly emphasized the strategic importance of Ukraine to Europe and the West, arguing that allowing Russia to prevail would be a huge strategic mistake. Macron's stance on Ukraine underscores his commitment to European security and the principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity. He has warned that a Russian victory would embolden Putin and other autocrats around the world, undermining the rules-based international order that the United States and its allies have painstakingly built over decades. Macron's warnings are a call to action for the international community to stand firm against authoritarianism. Macron's efforts have yielded mixed results, reflecting the complexities of international diplomacy. While he has succeeded in keeping lines of communication open with Trump, he has struggled to elicit concrete commitments from the American president. This ongoing challenge highlights the unpredictable nature of Trump's foreign policy. Trump remains deeply skeptical of foreign entanglements and has repeatedly questioned the value of NATO and other long-standing alliances. His isolationist tendencies pose a significant hurdle for Macron's diplomatic efforts. He has also shown a disturbing willingness to appease Putin, even going so far as to cast doubt on Russia's interference in the 2024 U.S. presidential election. This stance has raised alarms among America's allies and has complicated Macron's mission to maintain a united front against Russian aggression. Trump's foreign policy, if it can be called that, is driven by a volatile mix of isolationism, transactionalism, and personal pique. His approach is often unpredictable, leaving both allies and adversaries guessing about his next move. He views the world through the lens of zero-sum competition, where any gain for another country is seen as a loss for the United States. This perspective has shaped his interactions on the global stage, often leading to contentious negotiations and abrupt policy shifts. This worldview has led him to pursue policies that have alienated America's closest allies and emboldened its adversaries. His decisions often reflect a desire to project strength and assert dominance, regardless of the diplomatic fallout. Trump's skepticism of foreign aid is well documented. He has consistently questioned the value of providing assistance to other nations, arguing that these resources should be redirected to address domestic issues. He has repeatedly called for deep cuts to the foreign aid budget, arguing that the United States should focus on its own problems before helping others. This stance has resonated with his base, who see foreign aid as a misuse of taxpayer money. This stance has put him at odds with many European leaders, who see foreign aid as a vital tool for promoting stability and democracy around the world. They argue that such aid helps prevent conflicts and fosters global cooperation. In the case of Ukraine, Trump's calculus is further complicated by his personal relationship with Putin. His interactions with the Russian leader have been scrutinized and criticized by many. He has repeatedly praised the Russian leader as a strong leader and has downplayed Russia's aggression in Ukraine. This has raised questions about his motivations and the nature of his relationship with Putin. This has led to accusations that Trump is beholden to Putin, either financially or politically. Critics argue that his policies have often favored Russian interests over those of the United States. Whether or not these accusations are true, there is no doubt that Trump's personal feelings towards Putin have colored his approach to the conflict in Ukraine. His unpredictable calculus continues to shape U.S. foreign policy in ways that are both controversial and consequential. Faced with Trump's erratic behavior and the growing threat to European security, Macron has embarked on a three-pronged diplomatic strategy. First, he has sought to maintain a dialogue with Trump, hoping to persuade him of the importance of continued U.S. engagement in Ukraine. He has appealed to Trump's sense of self-interest, arguing that a Russian victory would be a strategic disaster for the United States. Second, Macron has worked tirelessly to rally European nations behind a common approach to the crisis. He has urged his fellow European leaders to increase their defense spending and to take a more assertive stance towards Russia. He has also pushed for greater European integration, arguing that a united Europe is essential to counter the challenges posed by Russia, China, and other rising powers. Third, Macron has sought to preserve the transatlantic alliance, which he sees as the bedrock of European security. He has acknowledged the strains in the relationship between the United States and Europe, but has insisted that the alliance remains vital to both sides of the Atlantic. He has called for a renewed commitment to dialogue and cooperation, urging both sides to focus on their shared interests and values.